How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about R.L. Stine's Stuff of Nightmares #2. This is written by R.L. Stine with art by A.L. Kaplan, and this is The Monster Makers Chapter 2. I don't know if this book is going to be super anthology or not. I'm thinking we're gonna get a full story and then it'll probably shift into another one. I am curious how often it's going to change, but that being said, I was more curious about that in the first issue. In the second issue, it really sucked me into the story, and I didn't really think too much about the book's format or anything like that. No major spoilers for this issue, but in regards to last issue's ending, last issue we obviously had that whole faux protagonist thing with the reporter character, and yeah, they're dead. We see their skeletons and everything, and we've transitioned, much like Psycho, into following the villains now, and it's really fun, you know, to see this group of 3 people going out there, wanting to make monsters, wanting to be mad scientists. There's even a bit in here where they're like, the girl says to the brothers, hey, you know, you could probably do this in a much more reputable way, and they're like, yeah, but we kind of want to be legends, you know, we want to do this in this way because that's how you get talked about, that's how you get remembered, you know? And it really, you know, now that we're firmly in the mad scientist point of view, following around these 3 characters, following around their drama and history, they escape to an island with a haunted house on it to set up their new base of operations. And you can tell that there's just so many fun ideas. Like I said, when I read the first issue, my overly analytical brain was like, is this anthology? How long will it change? And now that I've got into the second issue, I'm like, forget that. I just want to have so much fun with these characters. And it is definitely a story that I could see a ton of crazy stuff happening. Again, no spoilers, but it ends at a point where I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. That is interesting, and I really am curious. You know, these are inherently mad scientist characters. Mad scientists have a tendency to mess things up and make things worse and crazy, and we are definitely going in that way. If you guys like things like Frankenstein and Reanimator, I've always thought that this first story here is kind of like R.L. Stine's version of Reanimator, and that's always fun. Reanimator's a really good movie. If you're old enough, go check it out. It's really cool. But anyway, tons of fun to be had with this book. Zombie Frankenstein stuff. Really cool, and I definitely recommend it. And now we have a haunted house in the mix too, so all this stuff, pretty cool. If you guys want to see more of this book, I can show you guys a little bit of the story and a little bit of the art. I won't be doing any major spoilers, no ending bits, but if you guys want to see more of this book, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera and we can take a closer look at this release. So without further ado, to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Stuff of Nightmares #2. Let's bring it a little closer to the camera. Boom Studios, R.L. Stine, A.L. Kaplan. And we get this really fun cover. We get Frankie there eating a corpse in front of the new haunted house that's going to be our setting for presumably a little while. And we get featuring on the side, and then all of our characters. That's really fun. All the characters and Frankie. And if you guys are familiar with your classic horror comics, these little side panels are very reminiscent of classic EC comics like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear. They would usually have these little panels to let you know what fun characters would be in the comic, so a nice little reference. I like the big chunky line work, almost looks like a wood print, and then the cool logo floating over the house with the moon and stuff. A lot to like here. Flip it over to the back, and we get the same Stuff of Nightmares back It's a different color than last time, but it's still the hand, which is kind of interesting because the Nightmare Keeper does show us a new artifact this time around, but we're still with the hand. I'm wondering if it's going to be the hand for the whole story arc, or if it's just going to be the hand forever, or what. But then again, we do get 02011. Kind of weird that there's an O in front of that 1. Usually the 2 and the 1 would be next together. Yeah, because it's issue, cover, and printing, so I don't know what that's about. But anyway, we can see it's also a $4.99 book. Anyway, after that, crack it open, and we can get a closer look. The Monster Makers Part 2, the full credits here, and a cool three-eyed skull. Anyway, after that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the story. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to show you guys a bit of the story, give you guys a little bit of a look at the art, and, you know, give you guys a basic understanding as to what the book's about. But no major spoilers, so I'll be avoiding the end. And just looking at what this is, I don't think I'll go too terribly far into it this time. But anyway, we open up with them running from the lab on fire, and there's no previously on, which I usually prefer, but they do a good job in Stuff of Nightmares to have it naturally hidden in the dialogue, enough little things to remind you what happened previously on, natural conversations about what just happened, so there's no previously on, but it's hidden in the text, which I really do like. But after the cold opening, we go back to the Nightmare Keeper, and this time around he's showing you the eyebrow of King Charles I, and how most people think his head was buried with his body, but it secretly wasn't, and the parts were sold off. So I'm guessing, because I was kind of confused last time around, it was like the hand of some old-timey guy, I really can't remember who at the moment, but I was like, how does that play into the story? But I'm guessing rather than being an exact thing from the story, he's just showing us various body parts that he has in his collection. But I do like this last panel of him where he's, you know, mostly blending into the darkness, and he's this shape with a big necktie there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, after that we jump back to the story, and we get this fun scene where the monsters that they made are actually running out of the house as it's on fire, so they don't all just die, and they're going to attack some firemen in this really gruesome scene here. So it looks like we're not done with all those monsters yet, and we do get the police that investigate later. Because of the live stream, they know exactly what happened, and there's our former protagonist all burnt up right there. So yeah, that was definitely a case of faux protagonist. There is a bit later on where we see they actually also attack this petting zoo. So yeah, it's not just that they're on the run, they've literally unleashed a swarm of angry bad guys out here just eating whatever they can get their hands on. So yeah, pretty cool and gruesome zombies there, and now they're all burnt up, so they're even creepier looking. But anyway, back to our main characters. They get on a boat in order to escape, and they have a little bit of a discussion. Again, like I said, a hidden previously on. But we do find out a few things. The island that they're going to is the one that they were at when they were kids, and we also, in this dialogue, will find out that she was a student of the more nerdy brother. He was a professor, and they never dated, obviously, because you can't date your professors, but she is dating the less nerdy brother right now, and there is suspicion that there may have been tension between her and the older one, you know, so we'll have to see what drama comes out of that. But anyway, they're on the boat, and they'll eventually get to the island with the abandoned haunted house on it. Really a great setting. It's just all old and falling down and really cool looking, and they have a ton of memories of this place from when they were kids. And there's this fun bit where he knocks on the door, and slowly the other two show up to make sure that there's no one living there. But anyway, they'll be exploring the house. They're gonna give Frankie his own room when, of course, they discover that there's something else still lurking in the house. And actually, that's not even the biggest twist of this issue, but I think that's where I'll leave it there. Who's lurking in the house is kind of a fun reveal, and also implies even more of the house's history. And they don't explain it super much, so I'm curious to see in the coming issues just who that character is. But yeah, lots of fun stuff, ends on a really big cliffhanger, and overall, it's just, the first one, the setup, the faux protagonist, and getting them out on the road. But now that we're firmly rooted in our lead characters, and we're firmly rooted in what the plot appears to be about, again, I'm sure there's going to be more twists and turns, but I found myself really invested this time around and not thinking so much like, what's this book structure going to be? How often will the story change? I didn't really think about that. I just wanted to know what happened next, and that really is R.L. Stine's really great work as a writer. Super invested and really did like this. Like I said, if you guys like Frankenstein or Reanimator, this really is R.L. Stine's fun, twisted version of Reanimator, and I think it's pretty cool. So definitely did like it. Definitely would recommend it, and looking forward to issue 3 and hoping that there's a few issues of this run, Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my horror comics playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more scary comics, you can also find the first issue of that in there, Stuff of Nightmares, although you may have to dig because the horror playlist is pretty long. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.